People talk about freedom a lot, but you don't realize what it truly means until someone tries to take it away, one step at a time. My name is Michael Grant, and I lost my legs serving overseas. But that wasn't the hardest fight of my life. The hardest fight came years later, right here in my own neighborhood. Against the Homeowners Association. I moved to Silver Creek Estates after my injury. It was quiet, clean, and had good people, or so I thought. All I wanted was peace and a place I could finally call home. I bought a small single-story house and started adjusting. Getting in and out of the house was tough at first, but I managed until one rainy morning I slipped on my front steps. That's when I decided enough was enough. I needed a wheelchair ramp. A week later, I hired a local carpenter, Eddie, to build one. Strong wood, clean design, painted to match my house. It wasn't fancy, just safe and functional. When it was done, for the first time in months, I felt independent again. I could roll right out to the mailbox or greet neighbors without asking for help. It felt like freedom. But 2 days later, I got a letter taped to my door. Notice of violation, unauthorized structure. At first, I laughed, thought it was a mistake. Then I saw the fine, $500. I called the HOA office immediately. A woman answered, Linda Shaw, the HOA president. Her voice was sharp, clipped, like she was always in a hurry. Mrs. Shaw, this is Michael Grant. I just got a violation about a wheelchair ramp. Yes, Mr. Grant, we're aware, she interrupted. Your ramp doesn't comply with community aesthetics. It must be removed within 10 days. Aesthetics, I said, trying not to lose my temper. Ma'am, I'm a disabled veteran. I need that ramp. The board appreciates your service, she said flatly, but rules are rules. You didn't submit an architectural request. So you're fining me for trying to access my own home. She didn't answer that, just repeated, you have 10 days. Then she hung up. I stared at the phone in disbelief. My ramp wasn't hurting anyone. It was clean, safe, painted to match the house, but to them it was an eyesore. I thought maybe I could reason with them. So I went to the next HOA meeting. The room was full of board members, all sitting behind a long table like judges in a courtroom. Linda sat in the center, papers neatly stacked in front of her. Mr. Grant, she said coldly, you're here about the unauthorized structure. I nodded. It's not unauthorized, it's necessary. Necessary or not, she said, we can't allow individual modifications that disrupt the community's visual harmony. Visual harmony, I repeated. It's a ramp, not a roller coaster. A few neighbors chuckled quietly, but Linda didn't smile. She banged her gavel. Remove it by next Friday or face escalating fines. That was it. No empathy, no humanity. That night I sat alone on the porch, staring at the ramp. It wasn't just wood and nails, it was my independence. And they wanted to take it away. So I did what any soldier would do. I prepared for war. I started researching. Late into the night, I read about disability rights, housing laws, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and the Fair Housing Act. And then I found it. It is unlawful for any HOA or landlord to deny reasonable modifications necessary for the use and enjoyment of a dwelling by a person with disabilities. That one sentence changed everything. The next morning, I printed the law and attached it to a letter addressed to the HOA. I wrote, "This ramp is a reasonable accommodation under federal law. Any attempt to remove it is discrimination." I sent it by certified mail. A few days later, Linda called. Her tone was less confident this time. "Mr. Grant, we received your letter, but you still didn't go through the proper HOA approval process." I interrupted her this time. I don't need your approval, Linda. I have federal law on my side. There was silence. Then she said quietly, "We'll see about that," and hung up. 2 days later, I woke up to hammering sounds outside. When I rolled to the window, my stomach dropped. 2 men in safety vests were dismantling my ramp. I rushed outside, yelling, "What the hell are you doing?" "HOA orders," one of them said. "We were told to remove the unauthorized structure." "Stop," I shouted. "This is illegal." They hesitated, but Linda herself appeared on the sidewalk, clipboard in hand. "Mr. Grant, you were warned," she said coolly. I called the police. When the officers arrived, they listened, took notes, then said, "Sir, this sounds like a civil issue. You'll have to take it to court." That night, as the rain poured down, I sat staring at the spot where my ramp used to be, just a pile of broken wood. I felt humiliated, powerless. But then I remembered something my old commanding officer used to say. "You don't quit when you're tired, you quit when you've won." So I lawyered up. My attorney, Rachel Kim, specialized in housing discrimination. When I showed her the letters, the photos, and the removal notice, she said, "They broke multiple federal laws, Michael. Let's make this count." We filed a lawsuit under the Fair Housing Act and ADA Section 504. Within weeks, the HOA was served. At the first court hearing, Linda looked furious. Her lawyer argued that aesthetic uniformity was vital to property values. Rachel stood, calm and confident. "Your Honor," she said, "my client isn't asking for special treatment. He's asking for the basic right to enter his own home. The HOA's actions are not about aesthetics, they're about discrimination." The judge leaned forward. "Did your client inform the HOA of his disability?" "Yes, multiple times," Rachel said, showing the letters. The judge turned to Linda, "And your board still ordered the removal." Linda's lawyer hesitated. The HOA believed. The judge cut him off. Belief doesn't override federal law. 2 months later, the ruling came in. The HOA was found guilty of violating the Fair Housing Act. They were ordered to rebuild my ramp to ADA standards, pay all legal fees, and issue a public apology to every resident. The day they rebuilt it, I watched from my porch, same workers, same tools, but this time under my supervision. Linda stood across the street, avoiding eye contact. When they were done, I rolled down the ramp, smooth as ever, and looked right at her. "Nice work," I said. "This time it's up to code." She didn't respond, but a few neighbors clapped quietly. Word spread fast. Within weeks, other residents started sharing their own stories, unfair fines, intimidation, threats. A new election was held. And Linda, she was voted out. Now, every December, the neighborhood hosts a charity ramp building event for disabled veterans. They call it the Grant Initiative. Every time I see another veteran roll up a new ramp with a smile, I feel something I hadn't in a long time: peace. Sometimes the battles we fight aren't on distant fields, they're right outside our front doors. And when the enemy is ignorance, the best weapon is truth.